Earlier this year, Acura brought out its first dedicated EV, the ZDX, and this is the Type-S.
And we wanted to see how it stacks up against the competition, so I went out and got a BMW iX, which we've driven many times, and this is the 50 drive?
50.
Yeah. This is the 50, so it matches up almost identically in specs when it comes to power, weight, and those sort of things. But I think there's one minor difference.
There's a slight difference in price. We don't have the exact figure on hand, but it's at least $20,000 between these in the US.
So this is very long. Like, the roof goes back, and this kind of looks like a certain type of vehicle that I can't put my finger on it, but...
What? No, I got nothing.
It's a Type-S.
It is a Type-S. In case you weren't sure, it's right on the charging panel, so people know both that it's the high-performance version and it's electric.
I thought just like the charger was a Type-S.
Yeah, it's the high-speed charger.
Oh, it says Type-S on the back too.
It does. It does. There's also a weird badge back there that just says E:. I don't know.
I think I had that once in university. Oh, that was E. coli.
Yeah.
No, that was different.
Yeah. There's a lot of colors going on with this, with the black roof, the really nice blue paint.
I do like the paint.
Silver trim on the bottom, the yellow calipers.
Yeah, why are they yellow?
Is
that just like every ZDX Type-S has yellow?
I think.
Oh.
I think so. They're Brembos. They're badged as Acuras, but they are Brembo brakes, so that's good.
But not this one, not the single caliper in the back.
No, I think for me, the ZDX is the opposite of the BMW in the sense that I like how it looks from the front, and I progressively like it less as I go to the back.
I get that. The back does have a very accurate taillight.
Yeah.
But you're right, like the cabin, I don't know, it just looks a little out of place.
The proportions are weird. It's almost like Acura was working with some hard points that it didn't come up with on its own.
Does this light up?
It does.
Does this light up?
No.
It doesn't look like it.
No. It's just the frame.
That is a huge Acura badge.
It is, right? Look how tiny that BMW one is by comparison.
So I guess there's like EV things that have to happen. Like my calipers are colored. They're blue, but you get to choose your color.
It's true. It's true.
But look, I got one of these little weird roof things too. It's like, you gotta have the floating back roof. Mine says iX. I don't have anything on my door, but I do on the back say xDrive50. It is a 50, we're right.
It is a 50, yeah.
I like the taillights a lot.
Me too. And I really like that the entire thing lifts up and there's the little warning lights just behind the pillars too.
Yeah, the two white lights that light up. And they're smoked in clear because they have the reflector at the bottom. So it's kind of a nice little thing.
And look, like if people are gonna mess with door handles, which it seems like every EV is, except for that actually. But I actually like this approach. I find it pretty elegant. It's just, and they're frameless doors, which is
2 pros, 2 cons.
Yeah.
Pro, because where we live, it might not look like it now, but winter, yeah, you're not getting snow and ice in here. Which even if there's snow in the car, you should be able to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
And whoops, just set the car off. And it's easy to use, like even children can. Come on. Wasps and spiders.
It's true. So I'm trying to be nice about the front end. It's not our favorite front end, but I do really like the headlight design because BMW does a really good job with it. And there's these overlapping elements right here that, I don't know, I think are pretty sharp.
You win the headlight war. You got 4 LEDs and I only got 2. But you're right. I'm a bit of a headlight aficionado, and I love when manufacturers really do a cool design. And this is one, and they put the little branding in. And then you can look at the nice headlights because it kind of distracts from this part.
I mean, in the grille's defense, it is self-healing, so small stone chips will actually kind of heal over because it has a lot of sensors in there. It's just, it won't heal shut like a wound.
So how does it heal then?
Well, I mean, like, I wish it was smaller. Oh. I wish the grill would just kind of heal back up.
So the grill's a living thing then?
Yeah, it's
cool.
It's Terminator.
Yeah. I like the BMW badge. I wish it was a little bigger, like maybe not. But Acura big, but
then it wouldn't fit in between these little ridges that you like so much.
Yeah, the what do they used to call them? The mailbox air intakes.
Oh, is that what they?
In the 60s. I know BMW wants it to look like the M cars, but Ram Air Firebird. From behind the wheel, it actually looks pretty nice looking out over the hood, and it doesn't feel too huge, even though you can see it. There's definitely a higher roofline on this because this, as we said, this is more of a traditional SUV shape.
Whereas that feels very wide from behind the wheel.
Wide and low, it's like a fancy Kia EV6.
Even though this is actually the quicker of the two.
BMW power.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we're going to be talking about quickness and stuff, Mike, should we go for a drive?
Sure. The BMW iX has always impressed me with how fast it is. And even though this is the 50 and not the 60, it still has over 500 horsepower. And I think that might even be conservative, because when you line it up from a standstill at city speeds, even highway speeds, and hit the accelerator, it goes. And the power delivery is instant. So just cruising along, no problem, then hit it and off I go. And if you have it in one of the more sporty modes, you get that fake motor engine sound as well. Besides the sheer amount of power, the way the iX builds it up is really nice. Whether you're hammering down on the accelerator or just slowly building speed, there's never really a delay or a peak or a valley of power. I mean, that's a property of an electric vehicle, but some don't do it as well as the iX does. There's another interesting thing with the drivetrain, and that has to do with the sort of Regen braking, one-pedal braking. I don't like one-pedal braking. I find it's too aggressive most of the time. Some people love it, but then there's also times when I have it off that I wish it did slow the vehicle down a bit more for me. The iX has an adaptable, almost progressive sort of Regen braking. I don't know exactly how it works. I feel like it's based on vehicles around you and maybe the current driving style or situation, but a lot of times it'll let me coast for a little bit before it starts to gradually apply more and more Regen braking, and if I don't hit the accelerator or the brake, it just continues to build as it gets the system thinks that's what I want. But at other times, when I'm approaching traffic, the Regen braking will start much earlier and much harder, and I'm not saying because it's the collision prevention system, it's just smart that way. The iX ride quality really feels that of a BMW SUV. I mean, it is a BMW SUV, so I shouldn't be surprised, but we're talking different platform and different architecture and different drivetrains, but it has that really isolated, smooth feeling on well-maintained roads. And then on more broken roads, it's a little more choppy, but you don't hear it, you just feel it a bit. When you're not hitting a big chunk of missing asphalt or a pothole, the ride quality in the BMW is definitely better, as it should be for the price difference. The seating position I don't like. I feel like I'm perched up high on like a really nice, maybe dining chair or lounger. It doesn't really feel like a car seat. The bottom is very wide and very flat. And although the side does have adjustable bolsters, even in their most aggressive setting, they're not really gonna hold you in place too much, which is a little at odds with the fact that even though this is just the 50, it still has over 500 horsepower and it handles fairly well, but they're gonna get tossed around the cabin. On the flip side, they're very comfortable, and that's probably more important in this vehicle. And I think if you were to drive the iX's entire range in one sitting, you wouldn't be overly fatigued or sore at the end. Okay, back to the handling, because I did very briefly cover it when I was talking about the seats. The iX, it grips pretty well. It has 275/40 R22 tires, same as the Acura, but these ones are definitely more performance focused, and you can feel it if you want to hustle this vehicle through a corner. Obviously, it's not the sportiest SUV. Heck, it's not even the sportiest iX, but as BMWs are kind of known for, it's better than average. And I wouldn't exactly say it's fun, but it can be a bit entertaining.
Now the ZDX is interesting to drive because it is ostensibly the sportier of these two, right? So it's not the quicker of the two. It seems like BMW underrates its EV motors just like it underrates its gas ones. Now, don't get me wrong, this is still very quick, and when you get on it, it makes a interesting noise. Not good or bad, just different. And the ZDX does feel more eager to turn in. It has sportier seats that hold you in place should you decide to be a little sportier and have a little more fun. It's not that the ZDX ever actually gets to having fun though. It's very efficient at what it does, but it's just lacking that involvement that you might want, that actually Acura does so well in other Type-S models. Now, there are some good things to be said about how this car drives too, even if it isn't the last word on EV sportiness. It does ride really well, not as well as the BMW, because you do hear a little more road noise, but it's still very composed and it has enormous wheels as well. So really that's a win as far as I'm concerned. Also, the brakes are very good. They're 6-piston Brembos up front, and you never have to worry about them actually hauling up all of this ample weight. Now, the steering is, of course, really light because it's an EV, it's a modern car. You get the picture. But you can change some of the settings in the car if you feel so inclined. I can click over here and pick drive mode customization, and that gives you different choices for things like the steering, the suspension, the brake feel, and of course that artificial noise. Now, if you want to push it, you can, and the ZDX is pretty accurate and it stays pretty level when you're handling corners. That adaptive air suspension does work pretty well here. In terms of regenerative braking, the ZDX has a few different settings. You can turn it completely off, so it coasts like a regular car. There is normal, and then high, which is one pedal driving. And you can just flick that in the touchscreen pretty easily. Of course, one of the advantages of having an Ultium platform EV is that we have access to one of the best hands-free driving systems on the market. So how about, through the power of editing, we cut to a highway demonstration. All right, so we are on the highway running regular adaptive cruise control. Now I'm just gonna switch on the hands-free, and you get this very easy green little bar right in the top of the steering wheel that lets you know the system is functioning. And then it's as easy as that. And I'm doing this later in the evening to show exactly how it works when visibility isn't completely perfect. What I really appreciate about the hands-free driving assist here is that if I need to ever have to worry about whether it's active or not, I just have the thing on the steering wheel.
All right, so we've driven the cars, we've looked at the cars. Now let's get a little feel for inside. So I haven't really been in the ZDX clearly since you've had it most of the time, and I don't know, it's very black.
Lots and lots of black, including a lot of black plastic.
Oh yeah, it's got soft touch here, and the whole that soft touch. But you're
Yeah.
right. This is, I guess, like a marble look.
Yeah, it's a not entirely convincing brushed aluminum look. I do like the physical controls. I appreciate that they have the nice little click that we get in so many Honda and Acura products now. And this is a good approach to a wireless charger, although I found so far that the charging is actually only like hit and miss.
Because I got the opposite, where my charger always works, but the phone slides around everywhere you go. So yeah, I mean, I think this is the way to go with these in the future. You have a nice big screen, even if it's kind of just sticking out of the dash. But your driver information, that's a nice screen, and they've done a good job integrating it with the hood, so you'll reduce glare.
Yep, yeah, that's really good. Although, again, like just little design things that drive me nuts. Do you see the battery percentage thing? Do you see that 50 and 100 are directly intersecting the line? And now I can't unsee it. No, yeah. But I mean, the rest of it is pretty spacious, right? I mean, compared to, well, this is somewhere between an RDX and an MDX.
You got the nice under storage here.
True, that's helpful too.
Decent size glove box. Yeah, it's just, it doesn't feel
big empty space.
Overly premium. Like, it feels premium, it doesn't feel luxurious. It feels like high, but not that high.
It feels less special than the last MDX I was in.
Well, yeah, I'll give you that.
All right, Mike. So now we're in your car, the BMW. One of my favorite interiors, to be honest.
The sea of black turned into a sea of brown and I don't know what you call this. Not quite rose gold, but it's...
Oh, the bronzy kind of highlights? Yeah. I think it's BMW has a name for it. It's something bronze, dynamic bronze, or
so the whatever $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 extra cost. It's pretty much gone into this interior.
Yeah, especially that. Now it's opaque. Now it's transparent.
I see no difference.
It's very little.
Yeah. So anyway. This is something not enough EVs do, is you don't have an engine, you don't need a high firewall, and this dash just slopes down and gives you so much space, and they put little design elements in it. I mean, look at the side vents. They're like some of the coolest things with the split materials and look. And
I don't necessarily love the buttons to open the door. Not because they're buttons. I mean, I don't love that. But it's where your thumb goes, which is fine, but it's so far forward that you don't have any leverage to open the door. You have to use your elbow. So it's just It's not the most natural thing. It's weird. But I do really like that because the seat controls are now on the door, that the seats go right up to the edge. So it really does give it a lounge feel, and you can rest easily on the armrest.
The steering wheel looks like straight out of a sports car with the almost square shape.
That's the weird thing, right? The weird disconnect between it's like the world's fastest Chesterfield, which I think is a Canadian-only term. Couch for the rest of the world, and yeah, it's got some sporty bits, and then other parts are distinctly unsporty.
And back to these buttons, like these and this here, like just being the see-through plastic with a little tape makes it feel so high school. Like I said, there's a huge difference in premium feel on this compared to the ZDX, but there's also a huge difference in price.
Yes,
but I mean, and it's just things like this, like here, this is still soft. It's got this weird material, and the glove box, it's better integrated. That same material goes right into the doors. It's just
tons of storage space in the doors.
There is, but in fairness to the ZDX, there's way less storage in the center console.
True.
It's open, and you have a flat floor, which I don't know why you need that, because you're not going to put something there because it can roll into the pedals.
It's because it feels spacious, Mike.
Yeah. And then your phone charger's down here. Like I said, my phone likes to roll off of it. And 2 cup holders down there that aren't overly spacious.
So and they're a little awkward to grab.
So like even just the travel like has to go here, and then it goes on an angle, which just wants to spill your coffee or tea everywhere. But another thing is BMW must think we own many phones, because there's the wireless phone pad, there's a phone holder here, and you notice you have a phone holder in your door.
Yes. So, you don't though, so I mean,
I guess they figure if I already have 2 phones, I don't need a spot for my third.
Probably not, but I mean that's outdated thinking right there. I wish the ZDX had more of the feisty feeling of the Integra Type-S. I realize this is a very different market, but Acura found something really strong there, and I just think that there's opportunity for a similar feel in this market.
Vehicles today are getting more and more refined, and they're getting more and more features that used to be reserved for luxury. It's becoming harder and harder for luxury brands to kind of stand apart. It seems they're doing so with drivetrains, and especially the driving sensation, and BMW still has that. I get in this compared to other more mainstream EVs I've driven recently, and I can feel the difference. I can feel that my money's been put somewhere to make something a little more elegant and a little more special.